Grown up in Vietnam, I never felt like I belonged. In my heart, when I think about my childhood, I cry inside. My dad was a Black American soldier. He and my mom were happy together. They lived in Cam Ranh Bay, about a 5-hour drive north of Saigon. There was a huge American base there, and many of the soldiers formed relationships with local women. When my mom was pregnant with me in 1971, my dad's tour of duty ended, and he was sent back to the U.S. He wanted my mom to come with him, but she had 3 kids already from her previous marriage. My dad had met those kids, and he said supporting them would be too much for him. But my mom would never abandon her kids, so he left her behind and returned to the U.S. without her. After I was born, she sent him pictures of me, and they went back and forth with letters until the war was over in 1975. After that, they lost touch. When I was 4, the communists entered our area, and we ran south to the place near Saigon. I remember I had no shoes and had to run on hot sand. I was thirsty, hungry. We slept on the beach, and there were airplanes overhead. It was terrifying. After the war, we returned to our town, but everything was gone. All our things had been taken, and we had to start over. By then, my mom had remarried, and we lived with our small family. My mom, stepdad, my older sister, my younger brother, and me. Our parents walked to the mountain every day to do farming. I never met my grandparents, my mother's parents. They lived in another town, and she sometimes visited them, but she never took me with her to see them. She told me they did not want to see me because I was a mixed-race kid. Mixed-race kids were not welcome in Vietnam. No matter if your mix was Black Vietnamese or white Vietnamese. If your skin did not look Vietnamese, you were not accepted. In our neighborhood, when I walk on the street, kids would shout, "Hey, you Black! Hey, you American! You don't belong here. Go to your own country." Kids would follow me on the street and make up songs to mock me. I felt like they were trying to make me into some type of strange creature, not even human. Kids would pull my long, fluffy hair. They said it looked like a rambutan, a food we have in Vietnam that is covered in a hard shell with many stringy hairs on the outside. When this kind of thing happened, I just give those kids a dirty look and keep walking. My whole life in Vietnam, people who did not know me would say bad things to me. But I was a child. I couldn't speak up. Inside, I would say, "Okay, you have no idea who I really am." But in my heart, of course, I felt the pain every time. My mom would say, "It doesn't matter how people treat you. God knows everything. You just do what you need to do. Why worry about them?" Most mixed-race kids dropped out of school because it was so terrible to be mocked all the time. But I knew educated people were somebody in Vietnam. So I decided I would find a way to be treated better by having an education. I planned to be an attorney or a nurse. I saw many people treated unfairly, so I wanted to be a lawyer and fight for them. I was good at debating and writing, so attorney was my first choice. Or I thought I could be a nurse and help people that way. Studying was my only safe place, my only place to escape from those who looked down on me. My mom wanted me to go to school, but my stepdad didn't. So every day after school, I would hide from him in a quiet corner and do my homework by myself. At the end of every school year, the school would have a ceremony, and if you were a top student, they would call you up to the front of the whole school and present you with a certificate of excellence. I got good grades, but I never got a certificate. Until one teacher, our sixth grade teacher, spoke up for me. That year, I got really sick and missed school for a couple of weeks. When I was home in bed, I heard that teacher's voice outside. He had found my house and came to talk to my mom. After that, I got a certificate for excellence every year. In 1989, a man came to our house looking for kids like me. He told us that the Immigration Homecoming Act was passed to allow 23,000 biracial kids from Vietnam to come to the U.S. He explained that we should file paperwork for my mom, my younger brother, and me to go. My other brother and sisters were older and had their own families, so they could not come. I knew a lot of Vietnamese had tried to go to the U.S., and some even tried to go by dangerous trips in boats. So I thought, America must be like heaven. A rich place, a place where you could earn money, a place where they would accept me. People always call me American, so I believed I was one of them. I left Vietnam when I was in grade 11. We flew to the Philippines and stayed in a refugee camp there for 6 months to learn English and wait for a sponsor. A church from Portland sponsored us. We arrived in Portland in July, but it felt cold and sad and quiet compared to Vietnam. It was beautiful, with big trees and clean streets, but there were no people inside and lots of cars. But I didn't mind. Here, at least, there were no kids on the road to mock me. But we were fine. We lived in the attic of the pastor of our church and shared a kitchen with other people. My mom washed dishes at Vietnamese restaurant. And as refugees, we got some government assistance at first. In school, I felt like I didn't belong because I could not speak English, and I was a teenager without the right clothes. But no one said, "You don't belong here. Go back to your own country." People would look at me a little differently, but they didn't point at me. I make a couple of friends that I am still in touch with, and my ESL teachers was very helpful. I especially read math tests with word problems. I couldn't figure them out fast enough. So the teacher would call in a Vietnamese-speaking tutor to help me to translate them. I graduated from high school with honors. And went to PCC Sylvania for an associate degree. I didn't feel confident enough with my English to be a lawyer in this country, but I finished prerequisite courses for nursing and decided to be a dental hygienist. I got my bachelor in dental hygiene at Oregon Institute of Technology in Klamath Falls. In 1999, about 10 years after I left, I returned to Vietnam to see my brother and sisters and nieces and nephews there. It was wonderful to be with my family again, and I didn't care if the people in my town accepted me or treated me well. That didn't matter, because I knew I had an education, I had made money, and I was finally somebody. I was so happy to get together with my old friends and take them out for a special meal. But when some of the old neighbors who never even used to talk to me or my mom invited me to their houses, I don't want to waste my time with them. I could see people like that suddenly treated me well only because I live in America now and have an education. In other words, those people only respected me because they thought I was rich, not because of who I am. I am a Black American who was born in Vietnam. I am Vietnamese, but I don't belong there. I'm the child of an American dad, even though I never met him and he left me behind. I'm proud of who I am, no matter where I am.